YouTube fam, what is good? Yours truly, Marv, back in the building for another episode of Marv's Room. Thank you guys, as always, for tuning in, and to the new subscribers. Welcome to the channel. I got a great one today for you guys from one of the great mental scientists, as you guys know, because what we're talking about and discussing is mental science. I have a great story today from one of the great mental scientists, Genevieve Behrend. For those that don't know Genevieve Behrend, she was born in the late 1800s, and she was actually, I believe, the only student of Thomas Troward. Some of you guys might be familiar with Thomas Troward's work, but he was also a great metaphysical mental science teacher who was studying and teaching people about the power of the mind and what to do as far as visualizations and stuff like that. And so Genevieve Behrend, she was actually fortunate enough to go study with him, and he was able to teach her, you know, what he knew, which was a manifestation for Genevieve Behrend, because she had wanted to meet him and she was able to manifest that. But that's a different story for another day. But I wanted to get into today's video to discuss with you guys how Genevieve Behrend was able to help one of her clients that she was working with at the time get her husband back after a divorce and after the husband remarried. So I want you guys to listen to this story I'm getting ready to read from her book, Your Invisible Power, because I think it's really powerful in how she explains to her client, you know, don't budge, hold your will with whatever it is that you want, see it, feel it, believe it, and just let the universe take course, take its action to bring your husband back. So if you are dealing with a situation right now where you want somebody back right now, or you know, your SP is married and you want them back for whatever the reason may be, you know, this story could be a powerful story for you. This could be the way that you approach it in getting your specific person back, whoever that may be. But again, as I've said religiously in my videos, there is no one size fits all. There is no one size fits all to any of this stuff. So listening to this story, this could be an example for you, but maybe it's not an example for you. It's up to you to determine and decide how you want to go about it. All right. Excuse me. So let's jump right into it. And this part goes like this. She goes, a woman came to me for help to cause her husband to return to her. She said she was very unhappy and lonely without him and longed to be reunited. I told her she could not lose love and protection because both belonged to her. She asked what she should do to get her husband back. Again, I told her to follow the great power of intuition and think of her husband as being perfectly free and the embodiment of all that a husband should be. And this is a key part right here, because she said, I told her to follow the great power of intuition and to think of her husband as being perfectly free and the embodiment of all that a husband should be. I think this is where a lot of people mess up, is because when you're thinking of whoever your husband or ex-husband or specific person may be, you're not thinking of them being perfectly free. You're not doing that. You're thinking of them from being trapped in those shackles of being with another person. You're thinking of them from the perspective of not being with you. So essentially you have a mental image of them being handcuffed. You have a bad image of you also being mentally handcuffed because they're not with you. So I think that's powerful how she said to imagine and think of your husband being perfectly free in the embodiment of all that a husband should be. And what a lot of you are also doing is not thinking of your specific person of all they should be, or you're not thinking of your husband or ex-husband or ex-wife or whatever the case may be as all they could be, as what they should be. You're constantly thinking of the old image, the old man of how they are. And so that's why it continues to perpetuate. So start thinking of your new husband, your new SP. Start thinking of them, or your old SP, whoever that is. Start thinking of them as perfectly free, not attached, not bound, with love, and then embody what it should feel like, what a husband should feel like, or what a wife should feel like. All right, let's keep going. She went away quite happy, but returned a few days to tell me that her husband desired a divorce in order to marry again. She was quite agitated and had evidently relaxed her will in following the instructions given at the former interview. Again, I told her to hold constantly in her mind that the loving protection of the spirit of life would guide her in perfect happiness. That's powerful. Hold it. The loving protection spirit of life would guide her into perfect happiness. No fear, No anxiety. Know that the universe is guiding your every steps. Know that you're in alignment with the universe. Know that you are universe. You are God. Okay. And so she goes on to say, a month later, she came to see me again and said that her husband had married the other women. This time she had completely lost her mental grip. I repeated the words for her as before, and she regained her poise. 2 months later, she came back to me full of joy. Her husband had come back to her, begging her for forgiveness and telling her what a terrible mistake he had made, as he could not be happy without her. They are now living happily together, and she is at least learned the necessity of holding her pictured desired steadily in place by the use of her will. Visualizing without a will sufficiently steady to inhibit every thought and feeling contrary to your pictured thought would be useless as a magic lantern without the light. On the other hand, if your will is sufficiently developed to hold your picture and thought and feeling without any ifs, simply realizing that your thought is the great attracting power, then your mental picture is as certain to be projected upon your physical world as a picture slide put into a magic lantern shows on the screen. Try projecting the picture into a magic lantern with a light that is constantly shifting from one side to the other, and you will produce the effect of an uncertain will. It is as necessary that you should always have back of your picture a strong, steady will as it is to have a strong, steady light back of a picture side. The joy and assurance that you will make your picture is a very powerful magnet of faith, and nothing can obliterate it. You are happier than you ever were because you have learned to know where your source of supply is, and you rely upon it never failing. You rely upon its never failing response to the direction you give it. All said and done, happiness is the one thing which every human being wants, and the study of visualization enables you to get more out of life than you ever enjoyed before, increasing possibilities, opening out more and more before you. Wow. Extremely powerful. Extremely powerful. So now here you see you have an example of a woman where she went through the steps that pretty much everybody goes through. Her husband left. She began doing what Genevieve Behrend told her to do. Got bad news. Things were clearing out, went back to Genevieve Behrend and said, now my husband has left and married the other girl. Genevieve Behrend told her, listen, hold your will, maintain your will in place. Keep seeing the image. Keep seeing your husband being free. Keep seeing him being the embodiment of what a husband should be, and don't waver. And then she left and came back again and told her that the husband came back and, wanted her back and just begged for her forgiveness. But this is a powerful example of not bending, not reacting to the 3D, because in the 3D, as you guys know, the 3D could be showing you the exact opposite of what it is that you want. But when you hold your will, when you start to hold and you can direct and guide your will to whatever it is that you want, because as we know from studying Emile Quay and as we know from studying Neville, that, your imagination can be directed. Your will can have an effect on it, but most people don't know how to direct and guide their will, and they kind of use it for the wrong purpose. But I think what she said here is powerful, is because she was basically telling her to stop trying to get and to start giving, because I think the piece that a lot of people probably missed was originally reading something like this is they missed the giving part. Her imagining her husband being free and being the embodiment of a good man, that's actually giving to him. She's not at that moment, she stopped trying to get, because a lot of us, when we're trying to manifest a specific person, we're always in get mode. Or when we're trying to manifest anything, we're always in get mode. What can I get? What can I get? It's all about me. And it turns into, in my opinion, selfish LOA. But LOA is not all about what you can get from it. It's about what can you give? What are you giving to your specific person? Are you blessing them? Are you wishing them well? Even if they left you, even if they moved on to the next man or woman, how are you doing that? And this was powerful when she said, free him. So I'm telling you today, free your specific person, whoever that may be, whether they're married or not married, whether they're in your life or not in your life, free them. And I think she made another great point too, when she said, on the other hand, if your will is sufficiently developed to hold your picture in thought and feeling without any ifs, without any ifs. So that's another piece. You know, people, a lot of times when we try to manifest things, we have so many ifs in the back of our mind. You know, what if this happens? What if that happens? You know, and so I want you guys to remember that training part of your will is a part of the process of getting rid of those ifs, having the full mental clarity, having the unshakable faith as solid as a rock, as solid as a mountain that's not going to be movable. And if you can maintain that projection, like she's talking about, if you can maintain that projection, that solid projection of, no, that is my husband, or no, that is my wife, or whatever the case may be, in due time, most likely it's going to manifest in a way that's unbeknownst to you. You have no idea. But yeah, I just wanted to hop on here and share this story with you guys. Powerful story from Genevieve Behrend. Highly recommend you read her book, Your Invisible Power, if you've never read it. Great book on mental science, just as, you know, Neville, just as Florence Scovel, just as all the other great metaphysical mental science teachers. So I just wanted to hop on here and share that with you guys, man. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. As always, if you guys want to work with me one-on-one, you know what my contact information is in the description below. Please feel free to contact me as soon as you can. It's your man Marv back for another video. See you guys next time. You know where, you know when.